Check, 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 check.
Should be on. Yep.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Garden Sessions. Each Tuesday and Thursday of every week, we've been having live music, just some nice hangs. You can show up here, be productive, or not. It's totally up to you.
You can just chill.
You can just
Vibing is allowed.
Vibing is allowed, yeah. Good friend Danny here with me. Gonna play all kinds of different instruments, all kinds of different tunes. One of the fun things about this series is that I find it that quite often people see music, especially in a kind of a transient place like this, and they go, "Oh, well, that's neat."
Yeah.
And then they don't really get to know the person,
Totally.
the story behind that person. So obviously I know you pretty well, but I'm curious for everyone here in the audience to hear a little bit about your background as a musician, and when did you decide to, because you're a lifer, right? You're somebody who's not just dabbling
for
in
better
this.
or worse. I'm in it for life.
So did you have a specific moment where you said, hey, this is something that has to be a priority, or does it just kind of organically happen that way?
I think it more organically happened. I started playing music when I was in 5th grade. I wanted to play drums, and my parents got me some drum lessons for Christmas in 5th grade, and I played pots and pans and learned my rudiments and joined a high school band after middle school band, learned all the percussion instruments. And when it was time to decide what I wanted to do with myself, what I wanted to do for a living, I couldn't come up with anything better than music that I actually was interested in doing, right? So I went to music school at Capital University in Columbus, Ohio. It's a wonderful music school. And I promptly got my butt kicked by realizing that just being good at music didn't mean that you were ready to major in it, right? So that was like a whole other level of getting good, was 3 hours a day practice through music school. But an interesting thing happened. I almost didn't want to play music anymore, right? By the time I was through 4 years of that, it had kind of gotten beaten out of me. I remember joking with some other members of my studio that I prayed for injury. We prayed for injury so we wouldn't have to practice.
That's so sad.
Right?
That's so sad.
So it had been beaten out of me, and school had been very hard for me, and I got through, but I kind of lost track of what I was supposed to be doing. And in the midst of that being lost, and I was literally in a woods, I was at the recording workshop in Chillicothe, Ohio, I found the voice that I have been ushering forward ever since. So that was about 2006, and I wrote my first song about that experience, and have been writing songs since then on a variety of instruments. Better or worse. Somebody recently told me a passion is actually something that you endure pain to do. And I was like, felt,
Yeah, and that's complementary stress, right? I think is the term. You want something to challenge you, but you don't want it to just bring absolute misery. And like you said, I mean, I've been in bands before where I'm like, please somebody send that text. Right? 15 minutes before, like, please somebody cancel. I just want the time.
Right? Yeah, I just want to not have to deal with this anymore. Totally. Yeah.
So did you find that when you discovered your voice, did that make the work seem more palatable, or were those two?
Yeah, 100%. It was. So one of the things that happened through music school, and this is like not even a doc on music school, but it's just the facts. Like, they present to you, this is the body of work. I care not for how you approach it, unless you do it through this school of thought, right? It is a thing that we are training you to do. We've figured out all the secrets. This is it. Do it this way. And that robbed a lot of the magic that I had always liked about music. And when I went through that period in 2006, found my voice, started writing songs, it was like I was taking it back, right? It was like Corey Feldman in the well, I'm taking them back. I'm taking them all back, right? So one song at a time, I was reclaiming the love that I always had for music. And it's the reason that I'm still here.
So what, you're involved in a lot of projects.
Sure.
I don't want to say what brings you the most joy, but is there anything you're doing in particular right now that gives you that complementary stress, that provides that thing where you say, man, this was really, really hard, but you feel a lot better on the other side of it?
I mean, without a doubt, it's the band. It's Danny and DeVito's, Indy's best named band. It is the biggest challenge I've taken on personally. It's my biggest personal project because it is my songs and I am asking others to learn them and to get them just so. And I mean, the next step beyond that would be like composing for orchestra and demanding execution from 60 players instead of 4. I'm not quite there yet. But doing this and bringing the ideas that were in my mind to a more full life with a really good drummer and
Shameless plug, that's me.
I mean, we just played a show last night, right? And we were sweating and having a good time, but it was hard work. We were just saying that before we went on camera, hard work. So yes, complementary stress. It's super satisfying to get it in the right place and get it right and have the reaction that you're wanting. But it is a challenge to get there. And I mean, one of the songs I've written as about like what this is, it's not exactly what I want to say is gospel, but it's like that concept of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? If you can get through this thing that feels impossible right now, later you'll likely look back on it and say, hey, that developed exactly the type of characteristics that I am now proud of that I possess in myself. So yeah, the band, man. Danny and DeVito's, Indy's best named band. Midwestern al dente rock.
Yeah, so the yes and to that statement is when I joined the band last summer, that was actually the complementary stress that I was looking forward to, is drumming in a band that was led by someone who was a trained drummer, like trained percussionist,
yeah.
Right? And so that to me of saying, okay, well, that there's going to be a certain level of excellence and attention to detail that will come with somebody, because typically a band leader is a guitarist or you know, someone whose melody,
yeah,
right, a melodic instrument is their first thing.
Yeah.
So yes, that's my yes and to what you just said. But
well, and let me go one more on top of that. It's been really wonderful having you in particular as a very skilled drummer to sit in the seat, man. One of the first things that happened last night when we got off stage was a friend of mine came up and said, hey, your drummer is really good. And I said, I wouldn't have it any other way, right?
I slipped him $5 before the show, and it worked. How convenient. Actually, I had drink tickets, and I don't drink, so I was just like, here, have my drink tickets.
Just bribe them with those drink tickets.
Just take them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you find in your career, like I said, you're a lifer, and I don't mean that just because music is something that's important to you, but I would be shocked if you weren't always writing songs and always being involved. How do you define success? Do you have particular benchmarks and things that you're saying, man, if I can really do this thing or this thing or this thing, or is it more of I'm gonna work my butt off every day and just kind of see where that lands, or what is that Venn diagram?
Yeah, no, this is such a good question, and I find myself asking it all the time. How do you define success in a career where there aren't grades? You know, I've thought about it this way a lot. When you were in school, you could learn what the rubric was. You could turn in a paper, you could get an A or you could get a B, you could figure out what it was, and then you could turn it in again. Okay, now I know how to be good at school. At least that was true for me. You can turn in a song, so to speak, that can be a wonderful song, and it won't get the grade that you want it to get because there is no grade, right? I have songs that we're playing right now that have resonated with people, but when I wrote them, I thought that it was not good because the first time I shared it, it didn't get the reaction that I wanted. And comedians talk about this all the time, trying to test their material out and see if they can get a reaction. And that's a slippery slope because you could just not have the right crowd. This is, like I said, extremely good question, Drew. The other thing that I want to say is something I heard from my pastor just a couple weeks ago, Darren Chittick at the Church Within. He's a wonderful speaker. Every step of the way is both process and product at the same time. So, like right now, I can say we're successful, right? We're doing it, we're satisfied with ourselves. We're always trying to strive through our process to improve. But at the same time, we feel arrived in a sense. And somehow holding on to that very slippery concept is what has kept me going lately. Process and product at the same time. You're getting better, but you're good. Yeah, I'm at the Artsgarden playing my original songs. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah, and it just goes right back to your schooling, right? I mean, it's a very similar thing where if you don't love the work, you don't have to love it all the time, right? But
you do have to do the work. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're just waiting for those particular moments to have validation, right? And you amplify those moments a little bit too high.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's
you can hold something up. You can hold something up on a pedestal, and then it doesn't deliver, and you're crushed, right? Like that happens. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So yeah, that's dangerous. You have to just love. I do it. I write songs. It's a natural byproduct of my life at this point. I don't know why exactly. I can't explain why that is, but that is the case. They just come out, and so you just carry on. The cream rises to the top, I think. Yep. Or to the bottom, whatever.
I think it's to the top.
Okay, good.
I think Prince wrote a song about it, if I remember correctly. So 2 more questions for you, and then we'll let you do your thing.
Cool.
We've asked everyone here who's performed at the Garden Sessions this question, and very interesting answers, and that is, have you had a particular, let's say, a piece of music, a song, an album, or an artist that you encountered that gave you I call it the jazz stank face, where you didn't quite understand what was happening, but you knew it was substantial, and it just led you down a particular rabbit hole that helped you grow and challenge yourself as an artist?
Oh man, that's a good question. You talking like in person or recorded, or it could be
whatever you want.
The first one that comes to mind is Snarky Puppy's album, We Are Here, and in particular, a track that they did called Lingus. I just stumbled across this on YouTube because it's free on YouTube, this high definition, high quality video audio recording of this totally awesome band playing with a studio audience wearing headphones so they can get the mix, and just nastily good. Like, there's so many of them, and they're all over the place in terms of instruments, horns and like 3 guitars, and it shocked me from this idea of like, you can do that, And then the caveat, or like the carrot on top of this story, and maybe you're getting ready to tell it, is the drummer for this session, his name's Larnell Lewis. He flew to, I think it's Amsterdam, to do this session because their regular drummer couldn't get his passport in order or whatever. So Larnell did not know the tunes. He listened to the tracks on the airplane, landed, and just like laid down the nastiest stuff you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that elicited the stank face.
And that was Corey Henry was still?
Corey Henry was playing the keys. That Lingus solo is the other keyboard player just like walks off. He's like, I can't even handle this.
Yeah, that's such a fun. I'm actually seeing them tomorrow night. They're going to be at.
Are they? I knew they were coming. I didn't know they were tomorrow night.
They'll be at Nickel Plate at the amphitheater tomorrow night. So.
Right on.
What should we expect here today, and how can we continue to support you as an artist?
Excellent. Okay, well, you can see I have this array of instruments. So again, songwriting has become my thing, and I've kind of evolved it by learning new instruments. So I'll play some songs on the piano, some songs on my little 3-octave marimba, and some songs on my 4-string tenor guitar. There's maybe a couple of covers snuck in there just for fun. If you like what you hear, you can go to my website, which is DannyMarquismusic.com. And I have a solo album, Songs from the Imagination, available there. You can also find us at DannyandDeVitos.com. That's D-A, Vitos, Danny and DeVitos. That is where we are. And then also live in person one more time for you here in September. September 16th, we'll be playing Artsgarden in Fountain Square at about 4 p.m.
So it won't interfere with anybody's bedtimes, so that's good.
Right?
Unless you take an afternoon nap. So, all right. Well, we're going to let Danny take it away here in a second. Once again, just make yourselves at home and enjoy the music. And thanks for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Drew. I'm really thrilled to be here. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Danny Marquis.
That's it. There you go, a little instrumental tune.